Hello and welcome to the second part of my second video on flying the autopilot on the FS 2004. As you'll see, I'm on pause just now, and just to show you basically what the setup is. The plane's at 34,000 feet and its altitude's 36,000 feet is set for, so I'm just going to put that up to 1800 feet a minute, and I'm going to unclick the pause and start the plane flying again and go through a few things. Okay, plane's flying now, put it on quiet. The plane's flying now. First thing you'll see is that the plane actually struggles to make 1,800 feet a minute at higher altitude because the air's so thin. Why is this not working? As you can see that the engines are struggling to make that level, so I'm just going to bring the vertical speed down a little bit. So as you get to higher levels, you may have to reduce the vertical speed a little bit, because the plane won't make it. That's the first point. The second point is, you'll see the barber pose come right down from 320 to 300, below 300. It's just that indicated airspeed becomes wildly inaccurate the higher up you go. So you can't really use at high levels. So put Mach 80. Mach is the speed of sound. Mach 80, 0.80 is 80% the speed of sound. And basically, as you climb at higher levels, it'll automatically reduce the airspeed to compensate for this. That's what the autopilot looks like when you're on cruise. I'm just coming up to cruise level now. Both master switches are on. Headings set for the bug. Mach number is 0.80. Altitude's heading for 3,600, and I've reduced the vertical speed a little bit just to make it a bit easier on the plane. You'll see it's revving quite hard. Okay, the other part I'm just going to do in this is to show you how to use the nav setting on the autopilot. There's the switch in the middle here. There's two ways you can use the navigation. You can use it as nav, which is basically old-fashioned VORs, which are like radio beacons which in huts and fields and airports and places like that. And the other one is GPS. I'm not going to get into this in any great depth because I'm going to do this in the next video. So I'm going to start with nav, and I'm going to show you how the nav works. Nav is a radio beacon that you tune, so it's the little radio mast. I've made these quite big so you can see it. For navigational purposes, the nav is slaved to nav 1. So if you want to use it, if you want to use the nav switch on your autopilot, you have to use nav 1. The radio beacon I'm going to go into is Shannon. I'm a bit just off the west coast of Ireland now, and Shannon I hope is in range, because VORs only have a range of about 180 or 190 miles. That's high altitude ones, so I'm going to try tuning it. And basically what you have to do is in nav 1 you put 113.3, which is the frequency for Shannon, and then you use this button to click the frequency over. You get all this information on the map, the frequencies of these nav beacons. Just watch this one and this one when I click it over to 1133. Straight away you'll see that this arrow's become active, and 152 comes up in the DME, which is the distance to the navigation beacon, and it's also come up in nav 1, which is this thing here, because it's set in nav. Now what I do to use the nav setting is you swing the course round until they're all lined up, and that's basically the radial that you're cutting. I'll explain all this in another video. The radial is the actual heading to the nav beacon. You can see the distance is 154 and the radial is 148 radial. So if I press nav now on the autopilot, straight away the heading goes off, because it's not flying heading bug anymore, it's flying to a nav beacon, and it will start to turn round, and it will turn all the way around, and it will start flying towards that nav beacon. Now if you're flying with this, just a hint here, don't go away and have a cup of tea or disappear, because when it reaches the nav in this setting, it'll actually fly round and round and round it in a circle till the end of time. So if you are flying, you know, to nav beacons, or GPS points for that matter, you have to really keep an eye on them, and when they reach the nav beacon, either put in another one or put it back on the heading bug, whatever. So that's heading towards Shannon. If you were to keep going, you see that distance would start to slowly reduce as you get nearer to the beacon. Obviously when it gets to 0 you're on the beacon. The next thing I'm going to do is the GPS. So I'm going to put the radio beacon down, and I'm going to bring up the GPS, which is the little satellite one. Okay, to put a waypoint into the GPS, simply press go to, and that's got the last one in that I had programmed. You press the left arrow key once, and it starts just flashing on the 1. So then you enter the code of the waypoint you want to go to, which in this case is Echo Golf, Echo Charlie, which is Campbelltown Airport, which is very near. I'm going to actually land at Campbelltown Airport, and this is just to show you how easy it is to land using the GPS as an aid. So I've entered that in, and now I press enter once, enter twice, enter 3 times, and you'll see EGECs come up, and it's now the red line tells you how to get to the point. So I'll do that just one more time quickly, all at once, so you can see it. So it's nav page, left click once on the first arrow, put in the code of the waypoint, Echo Golf, I'm typing this Echo Charlie on the keyboard, and then enter, 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 and it's entered again. Okay, I'll change this to GPS now. So I'm changing the nav switch to GPS. Straight away you'll see that the GPS comes up with a heading to tells you what waypoint you've selected, and also the distance, 218 miles it is from the airport. Now I'm going to set up a landing on this, and then in the next video I'm going to do my approach and landing using the autopilot, and it's a wee bit of GPS practice as well. So the airport I'm landing at is called Campbelltown. Now the runway heading is 114. I know this because I've been down on the runway and checked it. So now I'm going to set the course setting. This doesn't have any effect on the nav if you're on GPS. It's only works on nav. So I'm going to put this to runway heading, which is 114, and if I carry on at that heading, I'm going to run right down the 79 radial into the airport. I don't want to do that. What I'm going to do now is set the heading bug to about 60 degrees. 60 degrees. Change from nav back to heading, and it'll now follow the bug. And what I'm going to do basically is I'm going to wait until that arrow is on runway heading, which means that if I fly down the runway heading, I should arrive at the airport and the runway will be straight in front of me, and I should be in a good position to land. But I'm going to do that in the next video, so that'll be in video 3. Thank you.